Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to the William Loomis Show. I'm your host, William Loomis. We are gathered today by Mayor Adam Maciekewicz, Mayor of new urban establishment, Trofors, Norway. Let's bring him out, folks. Mayor Mac. Is it alright if I call you Mayor Mac?
Yeah, sure.
Alright. Mayor Mac, explain to me the background history of you planning the location of where you're going to urbanize your rural settlement.
Trofors er en Nordic kommungrein i Nordland fylk i Norge. Det ba... Oh, William, did you want me to speak in English? Whoops, sorry. Well, William, Trofors is a northern municipality of Grain within Nordland County in Norway. It only has a population of 766 people, making it ruralized and making it a perfect place to urbanize. The area of Trofors is 0.74 kilometers squared and mainly consists of trees, mountains, and rivers. It's located near villages Liren and Majavatn and has an extremely dense population density of 1,035 people per kilometer squared. One of the main physical issues in urbanizing the rural settlement of Trofors, Norway, is cutting down an immense amount of trees. When you look left, right, front, and back, the greenery will fill your eye. Unfortunately, in order to have space to physically build anything here, trees will need to be cut down. There are significant issues that will come with deforestation, though. Possibly a major harm to animals' habitat and wildlife. Nearly 80% of land, plants, and animals live in forests. Meaning that if a lumberjack hired by me cuts down trees, I am causing a huge problem, maybe even leading to animal extinction. Correct. Soil erosion occurs when trees get cut down because trees keep possession of topsoil. But once they're gone, the soil erodes and agricultural land is in jeopardy. Deforestation also impacts due to the fact that trees pass moisture from the soil back into the atmosphere, also known as transpiration. Deforestation also impacts the water cycle, tying it in. When erosion occurs, there are major disruptions in runoff, which is needed to fill lakes and rivers necessary to the water cycle. Interesting. So you think even with these cons, you plan to go forth with the action of deforestation? Yes, although there are cons to this action, the pros are the reasons why natural resources such as lumber, charcoal, and obviously wood can be obtained from cutting down trees, which helps out industries for commercial and economic growth. Disease trees by cutting down trees, which helps anybody who relies on diseased trees for resources and whatnot. Due to the needed lumberjacks to get the job done. Finally, residential it gives more agricultural land, which is needed to build and sustain a community. In conclusion, there may be two sides to the action of deforestation, but in the long run, my sustainable settlement will be living proof that I made the right choice. Interesting. Alright. Mayor Mac, explain to me how you're going to distribute the different land uses in the urban settlement of Trofors. I feel like residential land use should take up half 30%. Houses. Yes, it is important, but keeping it slightly lower than residential land is important to maintaining a community without it getting too overpopulated.
Transportation land use is 15%.
Yes, it's fairly lower than usual, because Trofors' land takes up about only 0.74 kilometers squared, meaning most appropriate form of transportation, rather than wasting money. Maybe some subways to travel in and out of the city.
Institutional land use
are
is
important
10%.
so that students and educators schools and libraries receive a good amount of knowledge needed to get well-paying jobs in the future of Trofors. To citizens' health, because everybody deserves the freedom of healthcare. Of different other religions, institutions such as churches and religious centers, to ensure that all cultures and all religions are included in the Trofors community and that they stay true to their God while living here. Other buildings needed to keep Trofors sustainable are banks, a city hall, dentist offices, doctor's offices, veterinarians, and post offices.
Parks and open spaces will take up lots of land in Trofors with a
what
shockingly
good is endless
high
amount of
percentage
trees and a
of
beautiful
20%.
river if there isn't space to be able to view it? Surrounding the river, golf courses, parks for the children, soccer fields, and pathways for taking walks will be installed not only for amazing tourist attractions, but to screen houses from the noise of the loud and fast-rushing rivers. Interesting.
Industrial land use will take up about 15%.
This land use is a great tool to bring citizens facing unemployment into industries to help with the manufacturing of products that will be useful in the citizens' daily lives.
Commercial land use is 10%.
And is fairly higher than usual, because I feel the advertising in my settlement is what will inform citizens on what Traverse has to offer. Since it is a new settlement, people need to know about different stores and other things that are available to them in an effective manner. Shopping malls, billboards, etc. Restaurants, grocery stores, hardware stores, shopping malls, which include clothing stores, drug stores, pharmacies, pet stores, gift shops, electronic stores, bookstores, car dealerships selling mainly electric cars, so air won't get as polluted, which is crucial to sustainability. Farmers markets selling food and agricultural land. Our more stores, I believe, should all be a part of Traverse.
I like that point of view.
I agree. Even with all these stores and whatnot, how are you going to ensure that newcomers into your establishment will be qualified for the job? A foundation called ACCES, or Access Employment, will be installed in Traverse. It is an online program that supports newcomers overseas so that they can prepare or apply for jobs before emigration takes place. So once they arrive, finding a job won't be too much of a hassle.
Ah, now that's sustainability.
Going back to your industrial land use, how are you going to ensure that the air around industries will not get polluted from all the manufacturing that's taking place inside the industries? Do you have anything on that, Mayor Mack? Yes, of course. Air pollution causes diseases such as asthma, cardiovascular disease, lung cancer, emphysema, etc. That's why I'm going to install a clean electrostatic precipitator. Basically, the exhaust fume goes through the cylindrical honeycomb filter where fume particulates are absorbed into the collection tubes and only clean air gets.
English, please.
It's sort of like a balloon. When you rub a balloon repeatedly on a sweater, it sticks due to the force of static electricity. The more you rub the balloon, the electrons break apart because of the different molecules in rubber. Since the balloon is losing electrons, it gets positively charged. And your sweater is gaining electrons, making it negatively charged. And since opposite charges attract, they stick. The same thing goes for dirty smoke. The particles rub against something like a sweater, for instance, and it gets electrically charged. And the dirt would cling to the sweater while clean, hot air gets discharged. Cool, eh? Good connection. Mayor Mack, what about building all those houses you plan on building? Aren't there going to be struggles with that? Explain. How are you going to be able to obtain these resources effectively? So for the resources, obviously the wood is going to be obtained from deforestation. Other materials such as metals, bricks, etc. can be traded with different countries or cities in Norway, for example Oslo, as their production of goods and services is quite high. Obtaining some of these resources means that some people will need to take lots of time out of their day just to either fly out and drive until enough resources are obtained. Receiving these resources isn't for free though. Lots of money will be put into transportation and physically getting the actual resources. Okay. Now if you know the geographical features of Traverse, you know that it contains rivers such as Ostervefsna, Svenningdalselva, and Vefsna. Explain the benefits of having these rivers throughout your establishment. There are benefits to rivers Ostervefsna, Svenningdalselva, and Vefsna. Firstly, they provide a great freshwater source. Second, a great access to fishing. And third, can be a handy and cheap transportation source for trading with nearby places and maybe even traveling. Hydroelectricity can be produced if power generators are installed inside dams. When the water from the river flows through turbine blades made out of metal, they will generate power to homes and businesses because they're connected to generators. Electricity is the key to sustainability of my urban settlement. Now let's compare hydroelectricity versus power plants. For hydroelectricity, fuel isn't burnt, meaning that there's minimal pollution. It's free because it's from nature. And it's renewable because rainfall renews water reservoirs. Now on the other side, power plants use up valuable limited natural resources. They produce lots of pollution. Materials such as coal, oil, and gas are used to generate power in power plants, so drilling wells and digging up the earth will need to be done. If we're talking about nuclear power plants, there are major problems with waste disposal. Great comparison. Now, Norway is home to a large fish population. With all the fish living in those 3 rivers, won't hydroelectricity affect the population of fish? Yes, dams and reservoirs may obstruct fish migration and affect population. They can drastically change temperature and flow of river. Not only fish, but human population can be affected too. Dams may require people to relocate depending on the location. In some reservoirs, a strong greenhouse gas called methane may form and be diffused into the atmosphere. There are other forms of electricity. Since us humans can't really influence the speed at which water in rivers Oster-Vevsna, Svenningsdalselva, and Vevsna flows, other means of electricity will need to be installed. Wind turbines are a great source of natural electricity. They turn the wind's kinetic energy into electrical energy. Alright, Mayor Mac, now this is a big one. Let's talk about healthcare. Is it free or is it not? Healthcare in Traverse will definitely not be free, but it won't cost as much as United States healthcare per se. An average coronary artery bypass surgery in the United States is $45,438. In Traverse, I will decrease that average by maybe 5 or 10 grand. A, because people that earn slightly less income have a better chance of paying for well-needed healthcare. And B, earning money for Traverse's government is what will build our nation financially. Earning more money means that there's more money to spend on pricey medicine, surgical equipment, and more workers to help out with time management at our hospitals in the future. Materials for different types of medicines and whatnot can be obtained from reliable manufacturing companies near Traverse, possibly the capital, Oslo. Ah, I see. Mayor Mac, what's an establishment without transportation? How are you going to install roads? Are you going to have any airports or subways and whatnot? Well, as the nearest major airport, the Moss Joen Airport, is only a 41-minute car ride from Traverse, no necessary airports need to be built in Traverse. Roads, on the other hand, are going to take plenty of time to build. There needs to be a road going through all 0.74 kilometers squared of Traverse so that cars can get around effectively. Materials such as clay, loam, sandy loam, crushed stone, gravel, sand, bitumen, Portland cement, asphalt cement, and concrete cement are going to be needed to construct the roads throughout Traverse. Okay? What's your opinion on the existing economic system in Norway? Do you think it will be good for the sustainability of your community? Why or why not? Norway's existing economic system is a mixed economy. Most of Norway's economy is based on profiting off of their natural resources, including fishing, petroleum, and hydroelectric power. Petroleum and natural gases are extracted from large reserves located along the continental shelf of the North Sea, which are then used to better Norway's electricity and product manufacturing. I believe that our economy is great, because if we have all of these things to make money off of, why not, right? That is quite true. Alright, this might be the biggest factor of them all. Mayor Mac, let's talk about government. Explain to the folks of the William Loomis Show what Norway's government is. Norway's government is a full democratic government. A democratic government is a government where power is vested in people. And when leaders of a country are chosen, people vote instead of only one person deciding on who the leader will be. A democracy means that workers get paid fairly based on the level they're working at. On the other hand, a communist government is a government where people don't get a say in who their leader will be. A communism means that workers get paid equally, not taking into account the level at which they're working. I believe that the future of Traverse will lie in the hands of myself, who will choose the government of the settlement. Personally, I believe that a communist government would be idiotic, as people who work extremely hard versus people who work easy labor should get paid differently, depending on the level of their job. It's completely unfair that someone who works quadruple the level of another does gets paid the same amount. You should be paid the amount you deserve, not differently because everybody should be equal. Great explanation. I agree. Yes, it's completely unfair. Talk show hosts like me, who make lots of money in a democratic country, don't deserve to make the same money as a garbage truck driver per se, or a Taco Bell employee. It's unfair. Going back to access to things from people who have just immigrated to your establishment, how are you going to ensure that they will have enough money to be able to afford your housing? An average Norwegian house costs 3,712,800 Norwegian krones, which converts to 575,000 in Canadian dollars. Regular houses in Traverse will cost approximately 2.5 million Norwegian krones, which equals to about 400,000 Canadian dollars. Going a little below the average there, I see. Even though you are going below the average, the pricing of your houses are still high to ensure that your government will still be making a lot of money in the process, correct? Yeah, definitely. When I was growing up here in Minnesota, the stress of paying back mortgage was
terrible.
Me lowering the price is solely to relieve stress on newcomers when paying back mortgage after purchasing their home.
I know that this is sort of off topic to urbanizing your rural settlement of trofors, but let's talk about the population pyramid of Norway. This certainly explains if Norway is a developing or developed country, what stage they're at, and the level of their birth and death rate.
The population pyramid of Norway in 2017 is clearly a stage 4 contracting pyramid due to the low birth rate and high death rate and the longer life expectancy. This is because Norway is an extremely developed country, and that's how most developed countries' pyramid look.
Now, Mayor Mac, for the final and most important question. Do you seriously believe this is all going to make Trofors Norway sustainable?
Yes, absolutely.
Are you sure? Are you 100% sure?
Are you questioning my sureness?
Hey man, I was just making sure that you were completely positive about your answer.
Positive? Positive?
Okay there. Watch out now.
You don't think I'm positive about the sustainability of my settlement? The sustainability of my settlement? My settlement! The sustainability of my settlement! We'll see you next Tuesday. Bye!